Okay, so just try to imagine this for a second. You're strapped into a tiny capsule, sitting on top of the most powerful rocket ever built, and you're about to get blasted into space. Well, that is the reality for the 4 astronauts of Artemis II. Today, we're going to break down what are probably the most intense and thrilling 8 minutes of their entire lives, the ascent. And we're going to frame it like an epic hero's journey, from Earth all the way to the stars.
Every great story, of course, needs its heroes. And for Artemis II, we've got 4. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. And they're not just astronauts, they're pioneers. They're sitting up there in their capsule on a rocket they actually nicknamed Integrity, which, you gotta admit, is a pretty fitting name for the most powerful launch vehicle NASA has ever created.
So what's the mission? Well, it's pretty simple and pretty insane. They have to go from 0 to over 17,000 miles per hour in just 8 minutes. Yeah, that's the mind-boggling speed you need to literally break free from Earth's gravity and start their 10-day trip around the moon. The stakes? They really don't get any higher than this.
You know, every hero's journey has to start with a call to adventure. For our astronauts, that call isn't some quiet whisper. No, it's the final, thundering seconds of a countdown. It's a promise to return to the moon that is, right now, becoming a spectacular, earth-shaking reality.
What's so wild here is the sheer power being unleashed. At T-minus 10 seconds, hundreds of thousands of gallons of water just flood the launch pad. It's not for a fire, it's just to absorb the deafening roar so it doesn't destroy the rocket itself. 5 seconds, the main engines light up. But the real point of no return? T0. That's when the 2 solid rocket boosters ignite, unleashing 8.8 million pounds of thrust and literally lifting our heroes right off the planet.
The second that rocket clears the launch tower, something crucial happens. Control switches from the rocket's own computers to mission control in Houston. You'll hear that famous call. Houston now controlling the flight of Integrity. And right then, you know the journey has officially begun.
So, the first big test for our hero, the rocket Integrity, isn't out in the cold vacuum of space. Nope. It's a brutal fight right here at home. It's a battle against the very air it's trying to fly through. This is the single moment of most incredible stress on the entire vehicle.
So, about a minute into the flight, you'll hear Mission Control call out, "Approaching max Q." It's a term you hear all the time during rocket launches. But what does it actually mean for the rocket and for the crew inside? What is this mysterious force they're about to fly right into?
Well, max Q is basically the point of maximum aerodynamic stress. So think about it like this. As the rocket goes faster and faster, the pressure from the air it's smashing into increases. But at the same time, as it climbs higher, the air gets thinner, so the pressure starts to decrease. Max Q is that perfect, brutal sweet spot where the insane speed and the still thick air create the most intense force pushing back on the rocket. That swimming pool analogy is just perfect. That one moment of massive resistance right as you hit the water, that's max Q.
And you can actually see this happen. It's incredible. As the rocket goes supersonic and punches right through max Q, the huge pressure changes around it cause water vapor in the air to instantly condense, and it forms this spectacular vapor cone. It's this beautiful, fleeting cloud that physically shows you that invisible atmospheric battle the rocket is fighting and winning.
Okay, so having survived its big battle with the atmosphere, our hero rocket now needs to get a whole lot lighter and faster. To keep climbing, it has to strategically shed a massive amount of weight. It's kind of like a marathon runner dropping a heavy pack so they can sprint towards the finish line. And this all happens in this perfectly choreographed sequence just over 2 minutes into the flight. The main engines pull back a little, explosive bolts fire, and those 2 enormous solid rocket boosters, their job totally done, just peel away. Then the main engines roar back to full power and you get this sudden, ferocious burst of acceleration that catapults the now much lighter rocket forward.
Let's try to put this into perspective. Just 30 seconds into the flight, the rocket is already 3 miles high. It's absolutely tearing through the thickest part of our atmosphere. The raw power on display here it's just incredible. But that's nothing. A mere 2.5 minutes later, after getting rid of those huge boosters, the rocket has soared all the way up to 49 miles. It's an awesome demonstration of just how critical getting rid of that weight is for picking up speed and altitude.
But the rocket's diet isn't over yet. Next to go is the launch abort system. Now this thing is a lifesaver on the launch pad. It's basically an emergency ejector seat for the whole capsule. But now, high above the atmosphere, it's just dead weight. So they jettison it, streamlining the vehicle for that final push to orbit. This next part, this is where the magic really happens. This is the moment our heroes go from being just high-flying aviators to becoming true spacefarers, leaving our world behind to go and explore the cosmos.
This boundary actually has a name. It's called the Kármán line. At about 62 miles up, the atmosphere becomes so incredibly thin that it just can't support regular flight anymore. Wings don't work. It's the internationally agreed upon doorway to outer space, the official threshold that separates Earth from, well, everything else.
And then, at 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the flight, Mission Control makes the historic call. The crew of Artemis II has officially crossed the Kármán line. They have left Earth's atmosphere. They are now officially true space explorers. But, just crossing the line isn't enough. The final trial is to actually achieve a stable orbit. Our hero rocket has one last massive push to make, and with it comes the ultimate reward, the very first glimpse of their lunar destination.
By the time we hit the 7.5-minute mark, the spacecraft is just screaming along at over 15,000 miles per hour. The main engines are burning thousands of gallons of fuel every single second, a fiery testament to the power it takes to reach that final orbital velocity.
And then comes the final test, main engine cutoff, or MECO. At exactly 8 minutes and 2 seconds, those 4 engines have to shut down at the precise instant to get into the perfect orbit. A split second too early or too late, and the whole mission could be in jeopardy. Seconds after that, the massive core stage separates and falls away, its heroic job finally complete.
And then, in the sudden, deafening silence after all that noise and violence, comes the reward. With the big core stage gone, the crew finally has a clear view ahead of them. And Commander Reed Wiseman radios down these just unforgettable words. We have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right at it. After all the fire and fury, their destination just appears, serene and waiting. What a breathtaking moment.
So in just 8 minutes, the crew of Artemis II went from standing still on Earth to orbiting our planet at 17,500 miles per hour, conquering gravity and our atmosphere along the way. Their hero's journey has really just begun, with the moon waiting at the end of a 10-day trek. The question now is, what new trials and triumphs are waiting for them in that vast, silent emptiness between worlds? The next chapter of this epic story is just about